Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jacqueline. This is part of my jungle. If you are not new here, thank you for coming back. And today is day 2 of PLANTMAS. Can you guys believe it's December? What is happening? Anyway, so in case you didn't know, we are doing 25 days of PLANTMAS, which is really just fancy for you get an extra video every day until Christmas. And I'm going to try and keep it holiday related, but not all of them are going to be holiday related. And a little mini series that I wanted to throw into 28 days of PLANTMAS was kind of just like a plant of the day type of thing. And we're going to do that today. So I have for you my Monstera Peru. Look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? I feel like I never really like pick her up and show you guys. I only ever show you her on the shelf. This one is from Costa Farms because my original took forever to grow. But the Monstera Peru, you guys, is a really classic, gorgeous plant in my opinion. It does require some brighter light. It doesn't need bright direct light. You can do indirect light, and it's gonna be perfectly happy for you. I have one in the bedroom that is getting bright indirect light as well as in the greenhouse that gets bright indirect light, and they're both growing and doing really well. So I'd say that that is probably the sweet spot for this one, and that is gonna be your best bet. I feel like that's kind of like the sweet spot for most aeroids, but this one in particular is gonna grow really well for you with some extra light. So watering, this one is pretty forgiving when it comes to watering because the leaves are quite thick, and I'm not the best at watering my plants, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and this one has definitely dealt with a lot of neglect from me, and she's still perfectly fine. So I probably water it every 7 to 10 days depending on the time of the year. So usually this time of year I'm not going to be watering it as frequently like we talked about in the last video. In case you've missed the first day of PLANTMAS, I'm going to be making a playlist for you guys, so don't worry if you fall behind. I know it's a lot of content to keep up with, so if you ever get the chance to just sit down and press play, even if it's just on in the background, it does help me out, and I do appreciate you hanging out with me. If you can listen and pay attention, it's always fun to hang out with you guys. So yeah, I'd say these are pretty forgiving when it comes to water. Obviously, if you're gonna underwater it, you may get some yellowing leaves, and if you overwater it, you might get some rotting leaves. So, but honestly, this plant is pretty forgiving, so I feel like it's a pretty good plant for anybody. If you are a little bit more heavy-handed with your watering, you might want to move it to like a terracotta or something along those lines. The cat is like freaking out. You okay, girl? And if you're like me and you forget to water, then something ceramic is definitely gonna be your friend. Temperatures when it comes to this plant, I don't feel like they're really super finicky in the winter time. It may just stop growing. I haven't had that happen for me yet. It's still got some active growth points, quite a few actually going on up in here. So I'd say as long as you're not keeping this near a cold, drafty window or door, it is going to be perfectly fine because it is a tropical plant and it does like warmer temperatures. So there is that. And then that brings us to the humidity. Does it need extra humidity? No. Will it be mad at you if you give it extra humidity? Also no, but it is not necessary. This one in particular actually lives right next to my humidifier, not for any particular reason, just because that's where I put her. And I mean, she's happy, so she's definitely not mad about the extra humidity. If anything, keeping the temperature and the humidity a little bit higher this time of year is just going to help her continue to grow. But having your plants not grow very much over the winter isn't a bad thing. So there's that. But we talked about that more in the last video, so I'm not gonna get too into that here. So next on the list really for this one would be fertilizer. And I give it the same, I do the same thing as I do with the rest of my plants. It doesn't need anything special. I fertilize every other time I water. Maybe I've been using Espoma liquid fertilizer. I've been using instant plant food on some of my plants out here, and I've been testing out some new stuff as well. But yeah, I give her very minimal, like when I remember to fertilize, honestly. Like I try to every other watering, but like, let's be realistic. So there's always the slow release fertilizer too, the little balls you could put in the soil if you are bad at fertilizing like I am. Or they have like little sticks, I think, that you can put in there and stuff, but I usually try to go with something natural. And I don't think those are natural, but correct me if I'm wrong. So nothing special. She doesn't need anything special when it comes to fertilizer. Just a regular houseplant fertilizer is going to be perfectly fine for her. I know a lot of people like to use seaweed to help them grow and lots of other different things, but to keep it simple, just a regular houseplant fertilizer is going to be completely fine for this plant. And then all that's left is propagating. And she's not difficult to propagate. She just takes a long time to root and grow. So don't be surprised if you try to propagate this plant and it just sits there and does nothing for a really long time. So I like to propagate them in moss. You can propagate them in water. Like, it really genuinely does not matter. This plant is not finicky at all. It just takes a long time to root, and these can take a long time to grow. That's why I bought this one, again, because it had active growth points on it already. If it didn't, I probably wouldn't have bought it, to be honest with you, because they're just such slow growers that if you can find a big one that's already actively growing, like, I definitely recommend that over some cuttings, unless the cuttings are already rooted and growing. So if you're ever wondering why I don't usually have these available in my shop, like, that's why. They take so long to root. You probably noticed as well that these leaves are coming in much smaller than some of these leaves up here. And this is one of those plants that you can absolutely let it trail, but it is epiphytic. So if you wanted to give it a pull, the leaves will continue to get really, really large. I'm not sure if they will eventually fenestrate. If you want one that's gonna fenestrate, then the Pinati partita is probably a better option for you. It looks very similar to this, but the leaves are bigger and they fenestrate a little bit easier, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a Monstera. It should fenestrate eventually. I just don't think I've ever seen one. And then there's the variegated version, you guys, which is gorgeous, but even more finicky and like difficult to root and grow than this one can be. Once this one is nice and established, well, this is her ugly side, this is her cute side. Once it's nice and established, it's gonna grow like crazy for you. If you want bigger leaves, throw it up on a pole. I like it trailing because I don't really care if the leaves are big or not. I think she's gorgeous regardless, and maybe one day I'll put her on a pole. I had my original one on a pole and it never did anything, so I'm just kind of like scarred from that. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Monstera, Peru. Those are my care tips. This plant is gonna like a nice chunky aerated soil. I do like to keep my aeroids in a clear pot if I can, but I haven't taken this one out of its nursery container, honestly, and it's been totally fine, even though Costa Farms has like the worst soil. It's just like, it's peaty. So it holds on to moisture, which is fine for me because I don't water them enough. But for somebody who waters their plants regularly, you're going to want to take it out of this pot. Plus, it's not the cutest pot in the world anyway. I'm just lazy about it and you can't really see it. The plant does a good job covering it. So that is it for this video. Let me know if I left anything out in the comments below, or if you have any more questions about this plant. I will do my best to answer them for you. And I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, you should give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything from me. There's a join button down there if you want to be part of the official plant fam. If not, there is a super thanks button if you want to super thanks me and donate a few dollars to my channel. It's just a fun little way to support me. I also have lots of like affiliate links and stuff in the description box if you ever just want to go shopping. I make a commission. I make a commission if you shop through those links. So I'm just saying there are other ways you can support my channel. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I appreciate you, fam. And I will be seeing you soon with another video. Bye.